Let's dig a little deeper into this with Carolyn Shapiro. She's a professor of law and the co-director of Chicago-Kent College of Law's Institute on the Supreme Court of the United States. She also previously clerked for Justice Stephen Breyer and has argued cases in front of the Supreme Court. Carolyn, good to have you with us. So, first of all, what's been your reaction to what we heard in court yesterday? What do you think is going to happen to Roe versus Wade?
Well, I think, first of all, there's no question that the court is going to uphold the Mississippi law that bans abortion after 15 weeks, which is a significant, all by itself, a significant change in the law. But listening to the justices yesterday, I think it's very likely that they will just outright overrule Roe versus Wade. There was an enormous amount of hostility to the opinion itself, to Casey versus Planned Parenthood, the 1992 decision that reaffirmed Roe versus Wade. Incredible amount of skepticism from the conservative justices about the underpinnings of that law and about whether or not they should, at this point, overrule it.
As we mentioned, you've worked with Justice Breyer, part of the liberal wing of the court. Let's listen to a part of what he had to say yesterday.
There will be inevitable efforts to overturn it. Of course there will. Feelings run high. And it is particularly important to show what we do in overturning a case is grounded in principle and not social pressure, not political pressure.
What do you make of what he was saying there? What is it he's trying to do in his statements there?
Well, he's actually reading in part from the Casey opinion, but what he's trying to say to his fellow justices is that if we overrule precedent because it's unpopular, if we overrule precedent because people don't like it, that's not a principled reason to do it. That we have to actually explore the underpinnings of the what's called stare decisis, which is the idea that precedent is presumptively correct, and that we have to look and think hard about issues like how has this Roe versus Wade and Casey, have they shaped society? How are people relying on their ability to obtain abortions if they need it? And that's not an analysis, for the most part, that the conservative justices were interested in engaging in.
And stare decisis is something we heard talked about a lot during confirmation hearings, most recently for Amy Coney Barrett. Now, Carolyn, we saw protesters from both sides of the debate gathered outside the court yesterday. It's a hugely divisive issue from a social standpoint, a legal standpoint, and has been for decades. What could be the implications for abortion rights if Roe v. Wade is overruled or weakened? What do you think then happens next throughout this country?
Well, the first thing that's going to happen is that there are numerous states that have, as indicated in the intro, numerous states have trigger laws that will immediately outlaw abortion starting very early in pregnancy or entirely. We'll also see an enormous amount of efforts in states that don't have those laws to enact them. We'll also see some push in the other direction. Some states, including Illinois, where I live, have very robust laws protecting reproductive rights, but it will become a battle in the state legislatures. But it won't be limited to the state legislatures. It will also be a battle in Congress. There will be efforts both to outlaw abortion nationwide and possibly to protect abortion rights nationwide. And then if those laws were to pass, they would end up going back to the Supreme Court.
I mean, Carolyn, this has been an issue that for decades has often motivated conservative voters and those who oppose abortion rights. Do you think that's going to change in the next year as we head into next year's midterms?
I think if the court overrules Roe versus Wade or makes it clear that they've hollowed it out to such a point that it's not meaningful anymore, that will be enormously motivating for Democratic voters and for people who are not necessarily strongly associated with the Democratic Party, but who care a lot about abortion rights.
Carolyn Shapiro, thanks so much for your time. We appreciate it this morning.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.